My brother Joe Walsh, welcome back to the Mea Culpa podcast. Lots to talk about. Hour goes by too quickly between when you and I talk. We can just rant for hours. So I want to jump right into it. So look, Joe, you are a true legitimate critic of Trump for a long time, and you actually understand his style. What do you make of Trump's sudden backpedaling on Canadian steel and aluminum tariffs? I mean, he claimed that he spoke to the big three automakers and he gave them like a 30-day reprieve. Is this just another example of Trump being inconsistent? Or do you think that there's some deeper thing going on here at play?
Michael, always good to be with you. Brother, you know this dude better than I do. So you can answer that question better. All I know is this. I know you think that in many ways he's a smart guy. I think in many ways he's a fucking idiot. I think there are people around him who are scared to death of these fucking tariffs. And I think people around him have said, Mr. President, the market's tanking. People are pissed out there. Instability everywhere we look. Look at what this guy's done, Michael, just this week. I mean, boom, 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 the yo-yo with these tariffs, and everything's fucked up. I don't think he completely gets it. I do, though, think he believes in tariffs, which is fucking backwards.
Well, what makes you think that he believes in tariffs? I truly don't. I don't. I think what he's doing is he's seeing everything in a transactional manner, and that tariffs is just a way for him to say, well, look, I just got to win. We no longer have this negative trade balance where Canada is making money off of the United States. He doesn't seem to understand that just because there is a disparity between how much we send to them and what they send back, that there's actually a loss of actual dollars to the United States. But he doesn't see it. He doesn't want to see it. This was also something that happened in the first administration. There was in the first administration all of these tariffs that were imposed on many different countries around the world. And next thing you know, this one is calling him and saying, I need a reprieve. Okay, I'm going to give you a reprieve. And then he gave everybody these sort of reprieves from the tariffs where ultimately nobody was actually paying on any of the alleged tariffs that were imposed. What do you see there?
I think, Michael, he believes, again, this is stupid, and this is 100 and something years old. Like the world is a zero-sum game. There are winners and there are losers. And if more cars are being made in Mexico or Canada, somehow that's a bad thing for Americans, which is bullshit because the car the average American drives has parts from every country in the world. Trump doesn't understand or get that. He's got this stupid mentality that they have to lose and we have to win. So he'll even go after our friends.
You know, the funny thing is, too, I was listening to, I think it was Scott Bessent, and then there was another gentleman on CNBC who turned around and said that Americans don't mind paying more. Well, one of the reasons, as an example, why vehicles are built in Mexico is because the cost to produce the car in Mexico, or the cost to produce the part coming from Mexico, is so much less that the cost that gets passed down to the American consumer is less. I was watching where they had a gentleman from a Ford dealership, and he was saying that this Ford Ram was $80,000 before the tariff went into place. Now the owner of the dealership has it marked as an MSRP of $100,000. But the interesting thing is, he said that it doesn't make a difference how much that we charge because no one's going to be able to afford it. Why does he not understand this?
Well, you could answer that better than I could because you know him better. But that thing that Bessent said, his Treasury Secretary said yesterday, like Americans aren't looking for inexpensive or cheap products? Hello? Pick up a book and read the fucking history of Walmart, a great American success story.
Yeah.
Talk about, like, what a weird kind of thing for a super wealthy guy to say, but also, Michael, what an interesting thing to say when you know that the price of stuff is going to keep going up. So, but they don't want to say that. So they say shit like, oh, Americans don't want to buy inexpensive stuff. I really do think Trump is just so simple-minded in we win, they lose, we win, they lose. He doesn't understand the world anymore when it economically.
You know, when I was watching Bissent making that same comment, I didn't see it the same way that you do. I looked at a guy who was a billionaire. I looked at a guy who was completely motherfucking detached from reality that 90% of America deals with on a day-to-day basis, where they're not sitting with 10, 11 zeros in their bank account.
Paycheck to paycheck.
They're living paycheck to paycheck, that they not just want cheap goods, which is why 80% of all of our goods come in from China, but they demand it because otherwise they wouldn't be able to live their lives. And for him to make a statement like that, it goes to show you why this whole concept of billionaires running our government does not work and will not work for the American people.
Hey, Michael, that's completely true, but it ain't even billionaires, just billionaires that Trump's been hearing from. I mean, look at the last week. I'm gonna put on tariffs. I'm gonna take them away. I'm gonna reinstate them. I'm gonna take them away. Boom, 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 boom. And all he's fucking gonna do this weekend is play golf and threaten more tariffs. And everybody's heads are like this. That kills small business owners. That kills consumers. This crazy instability. It's really hurting the economy.
You know, I have a friend, I was telling the story the other day. Literally, we had coffee yesterday, and he told me the story that his 10-year company that he has been building. I mean, he has like 70 employees. And as a result of the tariffs, he got a letter, this is so crazy, from customs, from the port, saying in order to get his stuff out of port, not just the stuff that's already landed, but there's another boat coming with the parts, there's a tariff of 638%. 638%. On top of that, they want to retroactively bring it back to January 1st, requiring a cash payment of $2 million. He said, I can't afford that. That means that by selling my product, I lose money. He goes, Michael, what the fuck do I do? And I turned around, I said to him, you have to bring an injunction. He goes, but if I do that, I have to post a bond or pay the cash in advance. That's how it works.
Hey, Michael, Cohen.
He's going to be out of business.
Think about this.
What happens to the 70 employees, skilled laborers?
Reminder to everybody listening to us right now. Donald Trump was handed a great economy. By all indications, a better post-COVID recovery than any other industrialized nation. But think about this, Michael. In 7 weeks, this guy in the White House has fucked with our economy and, oh, by the way, made us the enemy of the free world. He's done all of that in 7 fucking weeks.
Yep. $7 trillion, I think, was lost in the market. I mean, congratulations. And what do they do? What do the Republicans do? They're so much better at messaging than Democrats. They turn around and they send out talking points memo so that everybody's on the same thing. It's all as a result of the Biden administration. In fact, Bissent even called it something I never heard before, a detox period. I never heard of a detox period coming off of one of the greatest recovery is one of the greatest economies this country has ever seen. We are now seeing a 20% decline in a mere 7 weeks.
Hey, my brother, Michael Cohen, you and I could spend 10 hours right now just going after the Democrats for, hello, where are you? Where are you for not being an opposition party? Oh my God, you're right. All of this going on, all of the damage Trump's doing, not to even, you and I haven't even mentioned Elon, the Constitution, the rule of law, all of this other shit. And yet we don't have an opposition party out there firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, we do not. I mean, do you think that this is going to lead to long-term instability in our trade policies? This back and forth, back and forth, back and forth reversal, and then implementation, reversal of these tariff policies? The unpredictability is just devastating to Wall Street.
Michael, if he keeps this up, there'll be a recession, a major one, halfway through this year. Enough damage has already been done. Because here's the thing, like you're a business owner or you're an investor, whatever you are right now, what's Trump going to do on tariffs? I mean, really, you don't know anymore. It's almost impossible to plan in an environment like that.
And yet he talks about building and bringing back construction and manufacturing to America. But he talks about it in the most simplistic of manner, as if you can go to Walmart or Costco and purchase an inflatable manufacturing facility.
Hey, Cohen, I'm going to interject. I'm going to play my former member of Congress card, and I'm going to ask you a question because, God damn it, you know him better than damn near anybody. It strikes me, Michael, all he cares about is Trump and his ego, But like, he's got to know, doesn't he, the damage this tariff yo-yo is doing? Why is he doing it?
Somewhere along the line, he thinks in the long run, he will be able to point his finger and say, I told you so. And as a result of the tariff, that he will bring down the deficit. That as a result of these tariffs, that he could then call it as a win and say, hey, look at what I told you. And all of you Democrats, you idiots, you all laughed at me. You said it can't work. 27 of 29 of the top economists in America said that's not what's going to happen. You're going to throw the country into a recession. Maybe. But he doesn't care. He made another $6-7 billion since he became president-elect. He has surrounded himself with sycophants and enablers like the Elon Musks, the Zuckerbergs, the Bezoses. He ever wants anything, he just picks up a phone and says, you know, I need $1 billion. Send it to my crypto account. He'll do it. And by the way, he'll say he's doing it for national security. And the Supreme Court said that he cannot be charged for that.
So to your point, Michael, it's been unusual for him, but he said a number of times that there may be some short-term pain. I mean, he's alluded to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's letting you know so that we don't get a chance to say, hey, we told you so. Well, he'll say, I already said so too. I told you that there would be, but it's only going to be short term. The question I would like to ask him, if I was a reporter in that room, what does short term look like? Are we talking about a week? Are we talking about a month? Are we talking about 6 months or a year? Or are we going to put it in the scheme or the grand scheme of how long the earth has been formed, right? Are we talking, is it off of a percentage of 1,000,000 years? Or are we talking about off of his 4-year term? What's the time period? He'll never give that to you because the last thing he wants you to do is to go to your cell phone, put the date into your calendar, mark off at, say, 7 o'clock in the morning, right? That ask Trump what's happening today based upon his statements going back to March 5th when he made that statement. That's the last thing he wants, to be held accountable to facts, to data, to dates. That's what he doesn't want.
Yeah, and look, politically, he's not going to be on the ballot again, though Michael Cohen.
I disagree, but go ahead.
Yeah, dude, let's not put it past him to try.
By the way, my brother, I was the first one to turn around to say that if he wins in 2024, there will never be another election again, not a legitimate one, and that he will not stop seeking another term after that, assuming he's still.
Oh, and
around.
I think if things are really shitty next year, I could see him trying to prevent the midterms from happening.
Oh, I see that too. 100%.
Yeah.
He'll try to figure out a way. He'll claim something with the ballot boxes. I don't know. But, I want to talk about, for example, Trump has made some pretty heavy cuts so far in government, specifically government services, including the VA. Now, you and I had a lengthy conversation on our Substacks about this. What do you think about the potential impact of laying off 80,000 people from the Veterans Administration? And how does that affect veterans? And one last question, does it reflect a larger trend of neglecting essential services, especially to the people who deserve it most, those that put their lives on the line for our Constitution, for our democratic republic, that without them, the ones that are here and the ones that are no longer with us, we would not be the America that we are?
So you and I, Cohen and Walsh, you and I differ politically. I'm that Tea Party congressman. I went to Washington because government's too fucking big and the debt is out of control. That was like 10, 12 years ago. So we do need to cut government. But what they're doing now, Michael, has nothing to do with the debt or the deficits, because you're talking about these aren't even peanuts. And the stuff that he and Musk are doing now, you can't even measure in the grand scheme of things. It has nothing to do with the debt. But politically, it's going to hurt because the government does do basic things and provides basic services that we shouldn't cut. And oh my God, the 80,000 some veterans. I've talked to Republicans, Michael, privately in Congress the last couple of days. They're scared to death of this shit politically. This stuff's going to hurt them.
I am so emotionally battered over this. There's a handful of things that I just don't accept. I just don't accept. I don't accept not treating veterans the way that they deserve to be treated. All right. I would not want to go to Iraq. I did not want to go to Afghanistan. I was fortunate that there wasn't a draft. I can tell you that Trump had no interest in serving in Vietnam. These people who put their lives on the line for us, men, women, transgender, went off in order to protect our democratic values. They come back sometimes with physical ailments, with mental issues. And now to cut off services to those people who risked everything for us is reprehensible. No more, no less reprehensible than Trump and Doge with Musk cutting off from NIH testing and programs to find cures for childhood cancer. The fuck did a kid ever do to him? What did any child ever do to him? That you're going to cut off programs that do research to cure childhood cancer.
And I say this as a Tea Party conservative, that's the kind of shit you don't cut. That's the kind of shit government needs to be doing. And he and Musk are going at this stuff because they don't want to go at the stuff that you really need to go after if you want to do something about the debt. No, this is going to hurt them. And you're right, man. I was a congressman. If you put that uniform on Your country owes you a special
Owes
debt.
you. Yes.
Owes you. And to just yank the employment of 80 to 100,000 of them, Republicans will rightly pay a price for this.
Mind you, that's just by the VA. We're not even talking about all of the cuts that are going on right now. Right now, Trump is undermining the value of all federal workers, all right, by literally cutting their positions. IRS, Department of Education, it doesn't make a difference, forestry, you name it. They're cutting all of this because he doesn't believe that they have a value to our country. My question I want to ask you is,
yeah, I don't think he gives a flying fuck. I don't think Trump cares about any of this. He doesn't know. I don't think he cares. And here again, Michael, you and I know, most Americans don't know, 4/5 of all federal government employees work outside of DC. They work in the rest of the country, in small towns and rural areas and big cities. They're all over the country. 4/5 of federal employees. So these cuts are hurting real Americans out there in communities that everyone listening to us right now lives in.
So imagine this, because we're not talking about this enough, meaning Democrats. We don't talk about this enough. The individuals who are being cut, whose jobs are just being terminated, they're not just Democrats. They're not just independents. They're Republicans as well. So what message do you think that this sends to those people who supported him, who voted for him?
Yeah, they didn't. And by the way, Michael, they didn't know he was going to do this. And look, you and I knew he was going to do some stuff. I don't think most people knew that he and Elon from day one were going to be doing this. The American people didn't know this, which is why you're seeing finally the American people beginning to wake up and get a little pissed off, which is good.
You think so? Where do you see that happen? Where do you see that happening? In the town halls?
Yeah, well, partly, but I'm seeing, like, unlike when he won in 2016 and there was an organized resistance, when he won in November, Michael, half the country just checked out for 2 months. And what I've been seeing the last few weeks is little brush fires all over the country, just organically growing. There's nobody leading it. There's no leading faces or voices. I think organically, I'm hearing from folks that it's just happening.
This episode of Mea Culpa is brought to you by Graza, my new favorite olive oil. It's fresh, it's never blended, and it comes from a single type of olive, the Picual, straight out of Jaén, Spain, where over half of the world's olive oil is produced. So why Graza? Single origin goodness, that's why. Only one olive from one region. No mysterious blends. That means a traceable, a fresher product without mixing in any low grade or unknown oils. It's super fun. It has squeeze and spray bottles too. So there's no more messy tins or drippy spouts. Just aim, squeeze, and go. I mean, there are 3 types for any task that you have. One, they have something called frizzle. That's their newest, with a higher 490-degree Fahrenheit smoke point, which is perfect for frying, crisping, or grilling. Sizzle at 410 degrees Fahrenheit, which is an everyday cooking oil for roasting, marinating, and sauteing. Then they have something called drizzle, which is a bold, a punchy finishing oil that you sprinkle on your salads, you dip your bread in, or even you top it off on your ice cream. Look, let me be clear. My daughter is the actual chef in the house, and she uses olive oil on everything from pastas to preparing steak. I mean, not only does this cook well, it smells delicious. Plus, as a healthy eater, Graza's extra virgin oils, they are loaded with those heart and brain friendly polyphenols. So it's good for you. Look, so here's what you get. You get 10% off your first order on Graza's site. But I personally suggest grabbing the trio. That's all the 3 squeezy bottles, the sizzle, the frizzle, and the drizzle, so that you're set for every style of cooking. So head right now to graza.co and use code Cohen to get 10% off of Trio, which includes, again, sizzle, frizzle, and drizzle, and get to cooking your next chef quality meal. Again, head to Graza, GRAZA.co, and use code Cohen, COHEN, to get 10% off the Trio. And I love saying it, sizzle, frizzle, and drizzle. So get cooking now. Yeah. So look, there's a result, like in physics, for every action, there's an equal and positive reaction. Job numbers continue now to fall short of expectations, even under right now, right? Even with all of these cuts and so on. What do you think is happening here? You think this is an indication that the policies that they're pushing, the things that they're doing, the cuts that they're making are not going to help to grow the economy, but rather to stifle it?
That number in February, Michael, wasn't a very good number at all. They were expecting an even worse jobs number. And again, if this continues, the chaos, the confusion, the instability, if this continues, you're going to begin to see the jobs number get worse and worse and worse. And buddy, my friend, you could see this inflation number beginning to creep back up.
Yeah, I mean,
it's going to get, it could get really, really bad.
Yeah, really bad.
He's got some smart people around him, Michael, who know this. He's got people around him who know tariffs are a bad idea. I don't understand what he's doing. Just like I do understand what he's doing. He doesn't give a fuck. But my former political party, they're in lockstep, Michael. They're in lockstep.
Yeah, that they are. But you know what they are in favor of? I don't know if you saw this. He signed yet another executive order declaring March Women's History Month in 2025. The funny thing is not one journalist that was in the Oval Office turned around and brought to his attention, it already is Women's History Month, right? I mean, so he signed an executive order that did what? That acknowledged what was already in existence? Again, these executive orders, somebody please, around him, an enabler, a sycophant, whoever took over my previous job, before you just do stuff like this, turn around and do just an iota of backing, of information, fact-finding, and so on. Well, why are we doing it right now? Isn't March already Women's History Month? So we're now going to sign an executive order declaring that it will forever be? It already is. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's kind of like, it's just foolish, and it makes him look foolish. But I did want to ask,
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I wanted to ask you, in your opinion, what do you think it's for this Trump administration to address the current lagging job numbers?
What do I think they should do?
Yes.
Well, keep him away from the cameras every day. Stop him from talking, because when part of the problem, Michael, is, and again, this goes back to the Democrats, Joe Biden, right, legislatively had a pretty successful 4 years, right? The American people didn't know about it because that guy never got in front of a camera, because that guy was incapable of communicating. Trump's the exact opposite. He lives to sit behind that desk every day, invite the media in every day, and he sits there and just takes 100 questions. And it's easy to take all those questions when you just fucking lie and bullshit all the time. But he lives for that. But he doesn't care that the things a president says moves markets and impacts job and economic decisions hugely. And so if I were advising him, I'd say get lost for like a month. Just get lost. Because right now people are scared to death at the chaos and the confusion.
Yeah, I mean, look, these executive orders are running out of the Oval Office like a fire hose. In fact, he signed yet another executive order right after the one declaring the one I just said, Women's History Month. Congratulations to all the wonderful women out there, blah, blah, blah. He signed a new executive order calling for the official establishment of a crypto reserve. Now, that's raised some pretty serious eyebrows. Do you think that this move is legitimate in terms of the financial system? Or is it just another play for attention or to pump up potentially his coin?
It's that, Michael. You know this better than I do. It's that. This whole crypto thing, this is, I mean, it's like, look, politicians are corrupt and politicians can be corrupt. Trump is that on steroids. So he's like, he just puts the corruption out there in the open. He enriches himself right out there in the open. And he thinks if he does it right out there in the open, the American people won't think it's corruption because it's not behind closed doors. I think this whole crypto thing with him is the latter. This is all him enriching himself day after day.
And what do you think of the potential risks of establishing a national cryptocurrency reserve? I mean, I understood when the reserve was predicated on gold and then silver. I understand that. I can actually even go so far as to try to understand a financial system, our financial system, the reserve, based upon the full faith and credit of the United States of America. You know, a lot of people don't realize how much land that the United States government owns. I mean, there's not even a number for it. You know, the amount of forestry, as an example, which Trump now wants to start, you know, taking advantage of, the amount of wood this country has, the amount of things. So that 37 trillion, while it's a whopping number, the amount of oil that this country has right now would offset it and actually not just balance our budget if we would get that oil into the market, but we would actually have a zero deficit in this country. So what do you think the risks are of now something that's predicated off of nothing, this cryptocurrency reserve?
The greatest risk, Michael, is that it will be abused, and it's a big old fund to encourage corruption. That's the scary thing, because you know, like I know, the world ain't there yet, and most people have no freaking clue what crypto is, except for a select few. And you create these reserves, that select few will have access to corrupt access to some wealth, and it's just going to increase, right? The haves and the have-nots, and it'll help enrich Trump.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about that one. Look, let me ask you this, because Trump's recent executive order, another one, targets universities, schools, and programs that allow protests that he deems illegal. That action, that executive order, seems to be pushing boundaries on free speech. How dangerous do you think that this order is for the American political landscape? And I'm speaking now as somebody who is the first and only political prisoner held by my own country because I refuse to waive my First Amendment constitutional right. I fear more of that shit is on its way. What do you see?
He's not a king, and only a king or a dictator could do something like that, because we have a First Amendment. He's not a king. He can't tell people they can't protest. He can't tell people they can't wear masks when they protest. He can't force students who protest to be expelled or imprisoned. These are all things a dictator does. The fact that the president of the United States doesn't care about any of that again, should scare the hell out of us. Michael, I'm off the charts pro-Israel. Off the charts. You and I have talked about it. I don't believe in the two-state solution. I'm off the charts. But you have a right as an American citizen to protest for Hamas. You have a right as an American citizen to protest against Israel. The president can't stop that. And I would defend anybody. You have a right in this country to peacefully wave the Hamas flag. And yet Trump wants to outlaw shit like that. That's
and what if
scary.
you're not an American citizen?
What
he's saying there is that you will be arrested and as well deported from the United States if he deems your participation in the protest to be illegal.
And I have a problem with that. I don't like that. I think we should be better than that. If you're if you're from another country and you're here on a student visa and you're a student in one of our universities, my God, we should open up our First Amendment to you. We should show you how big America is, that even though you're from another country, you're here at one of our universities, we're going to give you the same First Amendment right to protest against America or protest against Israel. I think it's a horrible thing to do.
Well, let me just push back on you a little bit here, because you're saying that he doesn't have the right. Well, only in the fact that you claim that the president doesn't have the right within which to do these sort of acts. And I disagree with that. He signed an executive order that any of these schools, universities, or programs, that they have a right to defund. Now, I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, and I'm not saying that it is a good executive order, but the president of the United States, who has vast powers, not unlimited powers as he believes, but vast, vast power, signed an executive order that is going to do exactly what he said that it's going to do. And I am living proof that they will retaliate. They will do this. They will make an issue out of it. No different than like what they are doing right now to the migrants, especially the ones that are birthright citizenship. They want them all out. He will accomplish this. And I believe it's dangerous, but I do believe that the executive order will stand.
I believe most of the executive orders he's signed, I believe, are unconstitutional. Damn near every executive order he's signed has been taken to court. The courts right now are overwhelmed. So it takes time with a lot of these, and a lot of damage will ensue until the courts can catch up.
Yeah. I mean, look, when I was remanded back to Otisville, Judge Alvin K. Hellerstein, thanks to my lawyer, Danya Perry, genius, filed a habeas corpus petition, and she argued it. The judge, Alvin K. Hellerstein, is like a 30-year federal court judge, Southern District of New York, turned around and said that the respondents, and the respondents were Bill Barr, the DOJ, and others, they're remanding me back to prison was retaliatory against me, violating my First Amendment rights because I refused to not sign a document that would prohibit me from publishing a book and speaking to social media about the book that Trump deemed, before he never read the book, critical of him and his presidency. He will do it again. And I warned everybody, what happened to me will happen to you. And fucking A, it's happening right here and right now, just as I predicted.
Michael, I agree with you. I have no doubt that Donald Trump and his administration will systematically go after our First Amendment rights, just like I have no doubt, Michael, that Donald Trump and his henchmen will go after his political opponents. people like you, me, and a whole long list of people. Again, I think there's a lot of scary shit coming down the pike these next 4 years.
So what happens then? Basically, my feeling is he wants to control dissent. He wants to control, very much like Vladimir Putin does, through state-sponsored and state-run media. Everything has to be positive about him. There could be no criticism. And if you criticize him, like Stalin would do, they show up to your house and they put you away. What do you think ends up happening to people like you, people like me, people like Midas Touch Network and others?
I don't think enough people, Michael, understand, and you and I are used to it because we've been out there so publicly opposing them for so long. But I don't think most people understand the risk that people like you and I take doing what we do every day. They're used to seeing our faces. They're used to hearing us. But every day it's a risk. This is a real threat. I have no doubt that Donald Trump is dying to declare martial law and tell Hegseth to put military on the streets to go after regular Americans who are protesting peacefully this summer when the weather gets warmer. I think things are going to get ugly this summer.
Great. Well, look, since we're talking about censuring and since we're talking about violating somebody's First Amendment rights, think about it this way. We watched at that joint session of Congress, we watched as Representative Al Green got up and protested. He was heckling the president. Now, mind you, we've seen this shit before. We saw it go on during the Biden administration by, I think it was Marjorie Toilet Green that got up there. Nobody went ahead and had her removed. Nobody went ahead. In fact, Joe Biden, it was probably one of the best things that Biden did when he was able to then get the Republicans to commit that they were not going to touch Social Security, right? Or Medicare, Medicaid. But in this specific case, both Democrats, 10 of them, and all the Republicans censored Representative Al Green based upon his outburst during that joint session. In fact, if you have an opportunity and you go back to 1 minute or 2 minutes before Mike Johnson got up and started reading off those rules, which he knew he was gonna need, so he had them prepared, sitting right there in the front. You had to watch the looks of MAGA Mike Johnson and J.D. Vance scouring the galley to see anybody that they could point out in protest so that they could use those rules against them. But what bothered me the most is the fact that Democrats joined in Republicans in the censure of Representative Green. And more than even just that, the fact that the fucking Democrats could not get together, knowing that this joint session of Congress was taking place on March 5th, get together in advance, call a fucking meeting and say, either we all go or none of us go. Imagine the visual, Joe, imagine the visual on television of half the chamber completely empty. Completely empty. Imagine what that would have looked like.
My brother, I completely agree with you. And I said that, that Democrats should not have attended. They all should have gone to their home districts and talked to their own constituents and found out what their own constituents feel about Musk and Trump and these job losses and the Constitution, all the rest. Or they all should have gotten up the moment he started speaking and they all should have left. Either way, I wish they had done that. But I agree with you. Al Green did what he did. Big fucking deal. I don't care. The fact that
have done it. So we're 45 days into this new administration and things are more stressful than ever. Family, the job, life. I mean, maybe you're in search of something to help you take charge of your life with full mental clarity. So enhance your march and embrace CBD with VIA to experience the powerful benefits of hemp without the high. Look, if you haven't tried them, you're seriously missing out. Whether you need to unwind, to refocus, or just boost your mood, VIA is here to enhance your everyday and night. Trusted by over 500,000 happy customers, VIA is changing the game in natural wellness, blending powerful, high-quality hemp-derived ingredients to deliver real, effect-driven benefits. So whether you're looking to sleep better, have better libido, improve your focus, recover, or simply relax, VIA has a tailored solution just for you. With products ranging from 0 to high cannabinoid levels, VIA lets you fully customize your experience to fit your needs. So whether you're looking to support your daily wellness routine, enhance your focus and clarity, or just unwind with deep relaxation, VIA has you covered. I mean, from their award-winning effect-forward gummies to their premium indoor-grown THCA flower and calming drops, every VIA product is thoughtfully crafted, made with organic, lab-tested hemp sourced from trusted, independent, American-owned farms. And the best part? VIA legally ships across the USA, discreet, direct to your door with no medical card required and backed by a worry-free guarantee. I mean, look, I've tried the THC-free gummies for sleep. And let me tell you, anyone who knows me knows that I've had sleep issues my entire life. I mean, these 4 a.m. wake-ups, they just don't cut it when you're my age. I mean, where has this product been my entire life? So let me share some real quick points about VIA. All right, first, it's an industry leader with over 500,000 customers served to date. 2, it's made in the USA, farmed and crafted with care in the United States. 3, award-winning service, experience their top-notch customer support. 4, the quality of the ingredients, sourced from the finest hemp for your peace of mind, plus lab-tested and certified. And 5th, affordable and accessible. These premium products will fit your budget. So not sure where to start? Take VIA's product finder quiz to get personalized recommendations tailored to your needs. I mean, it will take you less than 60 seconds to complete. So if you're 21 plus, treat yourself to 15% off and get a free gift with your first order using our exclusive code Cohen at viahemp.com. That's VIIAHEMP.com. Plus, enjoy free shipping on orders over $100. And if you're new to VIA, get a free gift of your choice. And after you purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. So please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Enhance your everyday with VIA.
Yeah, the fact that 10 Democrats voted to censure him tells me that's 10 Democrats who don't fucking understand the moment we're living in right now, right? I'm sorry. I'm all about respect and civility and, respect for the office and our institutions, but not right now. You've got somebody in the White House who's trying to destroy these institutions. This is not the time for decorum and civility. Democrats don't understand this.
No. Well, you know who else doesn't understand it? A whole bunch of Republicans, too. There were a slew of Republicans who once spoke out against Trump. In fact, one of them is the fucking vice president of the United States, called Trump America's Hitler. How about our Secretary of State, Marco Rubio? How about, Lindsey Graham? How about, the number of Republicans who once spoke out against Trump is staggering. But yet, today, as of today, they somehow have all since fallen in line. Why do you think that so many Republicans are willing to overlook Trump's actions, even though they disagree with him on those issues?
Michael, because if they didn't fall in line, and if they said what they really felt about Trump, these Republicans, they'd be where I am right now. They'd be on your podcast right now. They'd no longer be Republicans. They'd no longer be in Congress. They'd no longer have those cushy jobs. They'd no longer have their talk radio shows or their Fox News hits. Look, again, I say this as somebody who 6 years ago stood up publicly and said, I oppose him. When I did that as a Republican, I fucking lost everything. It's a hard thing to do. Marco Rubio, my God, 3 years ago, Michael, 3 years ago, Marco Rubio, when he was a senator, went into Joe Biden's office and pleaded with Joe Biden to increase funding for USAID because Marco Rubio knows how important USAID is. 3 years later, he's gutting the agency because he wants a seat at the table.
Is it really worth the seat? I mean, think about it. You think that this party, this Republican Party, has become too reliant on the cult of personality surrounding Trump? And you think that there's any path for future conservative leaders to rise? Because it seems that all the conservative leaders that existed in this party, they just, like I said before, they've just fallen in line.
Hey, Michael, you're a betting man. There's a better chance that me, Tea Party Joe Walsh, becomes a Democrat than I ever become a Republican again. No, my former party is on the road it's on, and it ain't changing. The country needs to wake up to that. It is a MAGA party forever. So what does that mean? That means temporarily, are we all Democrats? Does that mean we need another political party? I don't know. But the Republican Party ain't changing.
I mean, that's really terrible. It's a very sad commentary on where we're at. Let me ask it to you then this way, because I agree with you. We are right now in an era of constant division. In order for Republicans to win, Democrats must lose everything. For the Democrats to win, Republicans must lose everything. There is no moderate Republican. And to be honest with you, there really aren't any moderate Democrats either. It's become party versus party. It's become ideology versus ideology. Though I will say this Republican ideology is predicated to a party of one, whereas the Democratic ideology is really about the future of our democratic republic. But the question I want to ask you is, how do we bridge this growing divide in American politics? And what role do you think that media and figures like yourself can play to help heal the rift?
Well, the country needs to do a hell of a lot more of what you and I do. And I don't, people listen to you and I, Michael, they think we're best friends and we are really good buddies. But you and I disagree on most shit politically. And yet you and I have developed a friendship, even though we disagree on a lot of issues. We got to get to a place where we do that. We're in a place now where if you disagree with me politically, I fucking hate you and I want to destroy you. Now, MAGA is further down that road. But Michael, you're right. Way too many Democrats are on that road too. And that's a bad road to be on, because if you stay on that road where you hate and want to destroy the people you disagree with, then our democracy's done. It can't survive.
Yeah, so what do we need to do then? Like, what advice? Let me make this, because the hour goes by very, very quickly here. What advice would you give to Americans on both sides of the aisle, but especially to those who are staunch supporters of his policies, even though that those policies are so controversial, they're so mean-spirited, like what they want to do with the migrants, that now he passes an executive order now allowing ICE agents to raid schools, to raid churches, houses of worship, and to raid wherever in order to seize individuals so that he could then put on television and he could then own the promise that he made during the campaign on deporting mass volumes of migrants in this country. Even though these people are non-violent, many of them are housekeepers. Many of them are in construction. Many of them are working the fields. They're doing jobs that the average American, that most Americans do not want to have. What do we do? What's the advice?
Michael, I give the advice to people I've given since I was back teaching American history 30 years ago. Every one of us every day should listen to someone that disagrees with us. We should go listen to some show or go on some podcast or go to a website or read an article that has a different point of view. We are all in our silos. Nobody wants to be informed anymore. We just want our own beliefs confirmed. That's number one. We all got to do that. The second thing I'd say, and this is advice to Democrats, there's an opportunity because most of America is not MAGA. So you've got principled conservatives like me all the way over to crazy, lovable lefties. Democrats have to understand this is a unique moment where Joe Walsh and AOC got a hug and come together for a while to make sure we beat MAGA. So I'm hoping that Democrats recognize they need a bigger tent right now.
Yeah. I mean, just imagine on my Substack, I put out this morning, I put out an article that I entitled, Hiding Like Anne Frank in America. You're talking about migrants, moms holding the hands of their children, all concerned that their ICE is going to be, breaking down their door, taking them away or separating them from family based upon whether or not they were birthright citizenship. And that hasn't been, they're so concerned. They're not going to school. The son, he's not playing soccer with his friends or going out and throwing around a ball because he's afraid that these ICE agents are going to raid either the school or the church or whatever it might be. This is a lesson in history. One that I would always have hoped, especially as the son of a Holocaust survivor, never again. And yet here we are, the land of the free, the home of the brave. Here we are doing exactly what we fought against in World War II.
Michael, it's fear of the other. And this is the lifeblood for Trump. Fear of the other, fear of the brown, fear of the black, fear of the transgender, fear of. Trump and MAGA push this stuff. Democrats have kind of shied away from talking about these issues. They need to get in the mud and talk about these issues because more Americans are where Democrats are on these issues. More Americans don't want to fear the other. Democrats need to get in the game.
Amen to you. My brother, so good to see you as always. Joe, stay in touch. Let me know what you're doing. Let me know where you're going to be speaking. Always happy to get out there and join you on the trail because we're in an existential threat right now.
Love me some Michael Cohen, baby. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, pal. See you soon.